Tim, how are you today, sir?
I'm well. How are you, Ash?
All right. Welcome, 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 welcome. Great to have you here. Alex, tell us where Alyx Health is, Tim. Where are you based right now?
Yeah, we're based in Boston.
Okay.
As a brief intro, I have 25 plus years experience. I was at E&Y on global strategy and digital transformation,
Okay.
uh, primarily Fortune 1000 companies. I spent 3 years in M&A and acquisitions for
Wow.
strategic partnerships at E&Y. So partnerships are really important. We think, especially in healthcare, I started as a software engineer on the NASA space shuttle.
Okay.
I was 20 years old, weighed 140 pounds soaking wet, and had a long ponytail. So I was a propeller head. I started Alyx Health when I sold my last company, which was focused on pharmacists, an
Yes.
enterprise platform focused on pharmacists delivering holistic care to patients.
Hmm.
People I played with were like Walmart, CVS, Target, those kinds. Of Cardinal Health was a big strategic partner.
Mm.
This time, I exited that company, went on to start Alyx Health because I went on the board of advisors at Northeastern University School of Health, and
Okay.
particularly the
Cool.
School of Nursing and the Center
Mm.
for Innovation Entrepreneurship, the first entrepreneurship and innovation center for nurses in the world. I'm also a
Interesting.
National Science Foundation mentor. So I help biotech and startup engineering companies, primarily professors, and we have a world-class BOA that's advising us.
Wow.
I call them a working team, not just an advisory team, and they will tell you how much work they actually do. The big
Yes.
problem we're solving, Ash, is the shortage of healthcare workers in the world. Really, in
Okay.
the U.S., 80 million people don't have access to health, according to the World Health Organization.
Yes.
With post-COVID, the world of healthcare has changed dramatically from the adoption of telehealth to the fact that the Great Resignation and so many people are actually retiring. 50% of your nurses are over 50 years of age. Doctors are
Wow.
retiring. 50,000 doctors will retire in the next 5 to 7 years. The
Mm.
only ones that can fill that role of primary care practitioners is nurses,
Yeah.
physician assistants, and nurse practitioners and advanced practice providers.
Yes.
So our unique workforce solution is to help nurses bridge that gap by creating a new workforce model as entrepreneurs. So we help nurses basically start, operate, and grow their own independent digital practice, either virtually or in the community.
Mm.
Our mission is to increase access to care for underserved communities and populations and empower nurses everywhere. Important to note, nurses are 4 million strong in the US, 20 million worldwide. They're the most trusted and largest clinical workforce, bar none.
Mm.
And what they are is they've been underutilized and marginalized, and we can see that from the front lines of Channel 4 News or Channel whatever you're working with in the world, in terms of looking at who's treating COVID patients today and who's suffering the most. It's the frontline workers and the nurses
Yeah,
that
of course.
care.
Yeah,
What we've
absolutely.
done is we've actually created a end-to-end mobile platform to help nurses to start, operate, and grow their own independent practice as
Yes.
entrepreneurs to solve the shortage of health
Yes.
workers in the ecosystem. We
Yes.
do this as a business as a service and a practice as a service so that they can actually understand that their economics are very limited or small relative to how they can approach their go-to-market. We
Mm.
have 5 solutions: Guide My Journey, which is advisory. Where do I start? Create my
Mm.
company. How do I start a company in a regulated market? How do I operate my company? So we provide all the technology they need, and market my company and manage my company is the accounting and also the marketing approach, because we're connected to both the payers and providers, as well as the patients at the consumer level, to make sure that these nurse-led practices are successful. The market opportunity, based on our own proprietary market research, independent proprietary market research, is it's a $14 billion total available market. It's a
Mhm.
5 billion annual repeatable revenue. Of 4 million nurses, 750,000 are interested in starting a practice. 250,000 are actually intent on purchasing. And our product is a single seamless platform to provide all of these solutions, a la carte or as a bundled solution. The point is that we have significant traction. We started in the state of Maine as a pilot.
Yes.
We have significant partnerships with Northeastern University. We acquired a mobile health informatics platform from them for doing remote patient monitoring. We launched that statewide pilot about 6 months ago. We're launching Guide My Journey at $299 a month. We expect to have 10,000 customers within 12 months of closing financing. Seeking $4 million. We have 2 million circled by Zoom video. We're using it now. 10 to 20% of our capital raise, and Kiwi Tech, a global technology company, has also done $1 million in services. So we have 2 million on the 6 million circled. We have good traction, and we're looking to build Alyx Health 2.0, which is a mobile platform so that we can address the issues of access to care in India and Africa. Particular.
Understood.
I'll stop there. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, Tim.
I have
Lots of stuff.
Instructions just below this email, Ash. So as soon as you're ready, you can wire your funds.
Wire it in. We got the. You've sent me the Vimeo link, so I can just wire you the money. All right. Okay. Got it. Love it. Love it. So Tim, first of all, congratulations on what you've created. As part of our the Hyper Accelerator program, we're very keen. Our North Star is around job creation. We also recognize the effort and time and energy that the frontline workers have taken on over the last almost 3 years. I think March 2022. So we're 2+ years. As we hit different waves of COVID, they continue to step up. So what I wanted to do, Tim, is this. I want to break a couple of the components down. I want to give you a sense of what were some of the questions that were going through my mind as you were pitching. Okay. It was obviously, there was a lot to consume there, right? There was a lot of information there. But I think somebody with your background and repute, right? It's good to kind of frame things up. And I appreciate that we kind of, a lot of people are in the health tech space, but people like yourself, it's clearly, this isn't your first rodeo. So this is something that, you have the right, you definitely have the right team to kind of make this work. What I wanted to understand, right, and again, it kicks off, you're looking for, a couple of $1 million. This is probably for your seed or post-seed round of funding because you've gone through it, you've tested the waters. Now you want to kind of get to that point where you can build, you've done the prototyping and the MVP and you've seen some results. And now your goal is to kind of build that scalable, repeatable product that's going to take you to that next level, right? So, typically we look at it usually as a seed round, right? Because that seed is going to, take you to where you need to be. My question to you is around, I want to come back to this idea of where the ecosystem is going to be now, right? Because you brought this up in the beginning and, you talked a little bit about the nurses not knowing how to register a business, right? Not know maybe where to find the opportunities, not know where to kind of ensure that they're hitting the right regulation from a state to state perspective and maybe a global perspective. My view around this, Tim, is that they can probably be empowered even more with the existing intelligence. Correct? So if you look at the medical sphere, right, to become a medical doctor, right? So if you think about what's happening is there's a shortage of doctors, right? There's also a shortage of nurses. And what you're saying is that we are now moving into this direction where you want to, you can either hire more doctors, okay? And to become a doctor, there's a lot of time and energy and commitment and it's in some places, some people just can't afford to become doctors. It just takes too much time, energy, and money. But what you can do is you can level up their support staff, right? So what ends up happening is you see a future where doctors themselves focus on the high value assessment and what they need to do, whether it's surgeries or high value work. And then you have this global international network of nurses that can come and fill in the gaps, right? And they become, we talked earlier about like the smart private banker, right? The smart stockbroker. But basically what you're saying is that you're enabling nurses to be able to work anywhere. Okay. That's number one. But more importantly, and I was waiting to hear from this, Tim, is how do we enable them to work smarter? How do we actually build the process so that they can address and be in a situation where they make the doctors' lives, 50% more efficient, okay, by leveraging digital technology, right? So you have all of the different tools. Is that part of your plan on Alyx Health, right? Are you planning on, pushing them up a bit in terms of their ability to advise, right? Is that, can we talk a bit about that too?
Absolutely. So if you think about it, nurse practitioners versus RNs all have a specific ability, a specific scope of practice that they can actually provide. The problem is there's just too many barriers for nurses who, again, 50% are over 50 years of age. We have to create a friction-free pathway for them to actually be engaged to deliver care.
Yes.
Be engaged to be empowered, and we need purpose-built tools to enable them so that they can actually do this and feel confident that they'll be successful. And that's what our kind of platform does. Is it's a seamless, one-stop, end-to-end solution, and you pick and choose what combination of services and technology you need to succeed.
And so, when I think about Alyx Health, my question comes from, I have a numbers question for you, right? Because I'm thinking about the numbers based investor, Tim. I'm wondering, when you make this happen, right? How much more efficient are you making these nurses, right? So when I think about it, there's probably some ratio, Tim, in terms of nurse to patient ratio that is happening right now in the United States? Because you talked about 50% of nurses and doctors are going to retire. You kicked off with that, right? Okay. And so what you're saying, it's a mathematical equation. You kicked open with that, but I didn't get the answer, Tim. I didn't get the, back in the day, 2x minus thing equals y. What is y, right? I didn't get that from you. And that's kind of where I felt the story needed to be completed. I was waiting for it, right? So when I look at it, it's like, okay, if half the, you have 50% of the workforce, if for doctors and nurses leaving the industry, yeah, there's people that are coming in, but there's this huge gap of people that are entering the silver generation, right? You're going to have all these seniors out there. And when I think about Alyx Health is going to make nurses, 5 times more efficient, right? So if they have a ratio of 5-to-1, I'm using simple math right now, but if they had 5 patients, they can now do 25. Okay. So Tim, tell me about that. I need the concluding summary thing. You put all these pieces, because you brought up all the different features that you were doing, like all the product features. Mm-hmm. I felt for an elevator pitch, I mean, it was interesting, but I just wanted to get to like the, I'm positioning myself as a stubborn, time valued VC. Do you get what I'm saying? So I just want to,
totally
so tell me about the number. Go ahead.
Yeah. So think of it this way. The efficiency is around the fact that nurses and clinicians in general, and a lot of people in other industries too, are not intended or haven't been educated or have experience in starting up a company. Sure. I mean, I can look at it, Hyper Accelerator, right?
Yes.
I mean, how many of us all have started a company and taken it to, exit? And so we all need help to do
Yes.
that. And
Yes.
what hyperactivity has done is really build a platform to create consistency and to create efficiency in
Yes.
order to start from A and go to Z, and then
Yes.
start another phase from A to Z and so on. So we're
Yes.
doing the same thing for nurses. Nurses don't know how to start a company.
Sure.
Nurses don't know where to start. Where do I
Yeah.
start, Ash? Do I start
Where,
with a legal
where,
cannabis?
where do I operate? And I'm a good nurse, and I should be able to operate in Maine. I should be able to
Right.
operate in any state in the United States. I should be able to jump to Singapore and Dubai and other places that will pay me more. And work like that. My question is around the actual job as a nurse. Are there efficiencies there as well?
Absolutely. We
Okay.
talk about purpose-built tools. So
Yes.
the nurse model of care is very different than the medical model of care.
Yes. Yes.
So the nurse model of care is really where we're going in many ways. If you think about it, it's
Yes.
holistic care. It's social determinants of health. It's
Yes.
those things that are preventing you as an individual, as well as a population, that are preventing you from managing your own health better.
Yes.
Nurses have been doing this forever.
Yeah.
They're innately delivering care to people because they care. They're
Yes.
in an industry that they want to be in
Yes.
terms of helping care. The infrastructure in healthcare is so broken in so many ways. It's just bumping up against those well-intended, extraordinarily talented healthcare workers that say, I quit. It's the great resignation. I quit.
Yeah.
And the post-COVID experience, the last 2 years, nurses have gotten the real short end of the stick in so many ways by having shown up and saved millions of people's lives. And what we're saying is a better way for nurses to deliver care that gives them more empowerment.
Yes.
Because it says, I can work on my own schedule. I can choose the kind of practice I want.
Yep.
I can choose the population, and I can choose what I want to charge. That empowerment is what we're delivering.
So, Tim, I'm still wondering. I need a number. I need a number. Do you have a guess? Like, am I 5 times? Can I get 5 times more efficient? With it. I need a.
Even more than 5 times. I'll give you the one spectrum is they're just going to quit and not do anything.
Sure.
Okay, because there's only 2,500, about 2,500, maybe a few more of nurse practitioner-led practices.
Yes.
We're talking about launching 1,000 in 36 months post money. So we know 40,000 nurse practitioners are looking to buy a product. They want to deliver care. There's all this friction. So we're saying ours is not whether it's 10 times better than what they currently have, which is clear because they don't have a one-stop shop capability.
Understood.
They have to call 100 different entities. It's whether they're going to be engaged to deliver care at all. And then when they come on our practice, the issue is it's at least 10 times, both in terms of time elapsed, how much time it takes, the expense, because we're shifting the economics and the power of the economics back to the clinician. So
Tim, to that point, I want to ask you this question because these are the two things that were coming to my mind, and I'd love to pitch your idea back to you. The question is, you've stated that if they use it properly, they can have up to 10 times more efficiencies. Okay, so when I hear that, I'm hearing that they can have 10 times more clients, right? If I'm operating with the efficient manner and all the other things, I'm not wasting time running the business, all of the accounting stuff, and you have all the right workflows and stuff for client management, patient management, patient follow-ups, all of those elements are done. Okay. And so, obviously every patient is different and some people need a little bit more, but you can have up to 10% of that. My question to you though is, as a nurse, all right, how much am I making now, right? If I'm a nurse right now and you're pitching to me and I want to adopt your product, if I'm earning $50,000 US, I don't know what they're currently earning. how much more am I going to earn, Tim? Because I was waiting for that to come into pitch, right?
Yeah.
As a nurse, how are you making the nurses? So you talk about the Great Resignation, okay, right? The Great Resignation for nurses and everything is it's a time energy value equation, right? Unfortunately, they did not actually see an upside in pay, right? And they were dealing with twice as much BS, right? So it's like this, people ask all the time, they're like, investment bankers, when you first get into investment banking as an analyst, right? When I was in my early 20s, it's like, you get paid a lot, but you got to deal with a lot of BS, right? And so why did the Great Resignation happen with nurses is because, yes, everyone was applauding frontline workers, right? Remember the time when we used to clap for them and do all that stuff, but at the end of the day, they didn't get paid more, okay? We should have paid them more, right? And that would have stopped a lot of things. And if you look at markets like Singapore, kudos to them because they not only applauded the frontline workers, but they were paying them more as well, right? So my question to you, Tim, is if I'm a nurse and I want to adopt your product and I'm earning 50 grand a year, how much more can I earn now if I'm part of your platform?
Yeah, so we're very careful with those, we call practice economics. Depends
Sure.
on what your education is, what your service is that you're providing, how many hours you're going to work, and what that delivery is. Is it virtual health? But I'll give you an example. Walgreens actually has a model that says a nurse doing telehealth can make up to $150,000 a year.
Okay. Wow. So that's a big increase, right, Tim?
It's a huge increase. Now, there's costs to all doing that and everything else, but the more important point is that if we don't create, there's some things in there, Ash, that you said that probably I would dispute. Nurses are getting paid more.
Oh, they are good.
They are getting
Because
paid
the ones
more.
the ones that I've spoken to that have resigned, they're like, listen, they offered me a little bit more money, but it wasn't worth it, so I quit.
Right, exactly. So,
right?
So imagine hospitals run on a 2.5% profit margin, and nurses have always been built into the cap structure, right?
Yes.
So they've never been like doctors,
Independent.
charge individual fees, right?
Yes.
They're just kind of a burden, a cost burden is what they are.
That's your disruption, Tim. That's your disruption, right?
Yes.
And so I want to emphasize that, right? When I think about what you're doing, I just want you to think about, because the nurse element, right? Just package it around that, the user journey and all of these components, right? I am assuming that, if you're coming to speak to somebody like me, all the background pieces are there, right? You're qualified and you know what I mean? And all those pieces. But I want that to come out because I feel like that's where your disruption is, Tim. That is your disruption. And when we think about it, giving them the same rights and opportunities to reach their full potential. You're breaking the glass ceiling. You're breaking the glass ceiling for nurses everywhere. But you're also helping society. And my also point, Tim, which didn't come out in your pitch, which I kind of wanted to hear, last point, was how much is it going to make it easier for people to access quality healthcare, right?
Absolutely.
That's kind of another thing that I wanted it to come out with, all right? So, Tim, what I'm going to do, would you like me to pitch your idea? Can I pitch? Can I pitch Alyx Health to Tim?
That's part of the show, Ash. Come on.
Well, it's easy for you. It's very stressful and potentially embarrassing for me when I kind of get it wrong. But the purpose of the pitchback is just for you to hear it in a different dynamic, a different element based on the questions. A lot of us go through the startup journey and we're pitching and doing the same thing over and over again. And it's always good to take a moment to get feedback from the crowd, right? Which we've been able to do, but also listen to it from another person's perspective and see if there are different sound bites, right? That are going to help tell the story. And so when we think about elevator pitches, and just startup in general, because we're starting off, right? You're not Microsoft yet. And so that ability to storytell and tweak your story, okay, based on who you're speaking to, matters as well. Okay. So we're going to try to do that. Now, Tim, you get to introduce yourself. Okay. And,
Sure.
and then I will, once we hit the top of the elevator, we'll get a chance to, I think we're hitting it right now. And then I will pitch as one of the members of the Alyx Health team. All right. So over to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Ash. My name's Tim Simard, and I'm a senior partner at Kleiner Perkins, and I'm really interested in what you guys have been working on. And we think transformation of healthcare is a vital objective and goal in our current situation. I'd love to hear more about your company.
Yes, Tim, thank you for making the time. It is indeed a pleasure to meet somebody from Kleiner Perkins. I know that your health tech practice is one of the best in the world. And I want to talk to you about something that you're probably already familiar with. And that is what has happened during COVID and frontline workers. As you know, there's this huge change that has happened in the health tech space, where you have a lot of nurses resigning. You might also know that 50% of doctors and nurses today are above 50 years old. And you have this silver generation coming that needs support. Okay. We hear it. We talk about it. It's obviously a big problem. And our goal at Alyx Health is to try to solve this problem. And what we've decided to do is, instead of just focusing on getting more doctors and just telehealth, we actually want to focus on the front line, the nurse practitioners. And what we've decided to do is we've rethought the smart, intelligent super nurse in 2022. And what that means is that we allow nurses around the world, starting in the United States, to leverage our digital platform that's going to allow them to create a practice similar to what a dentist or a doctor does. We actually manage all the elements around the paperwork, the logistics, the incorporation, the accounting, and even equip them with the tools to become a smart nurse with access to better data of their patients, to drive real results. And we feel that this is what is needed now, right? We have 4 million nurses, and one of the ways that we can solve the big challenge we have in healthcare is to enable them to not just manage, 10 people at a time, but manage 100, right? And so our tools, our background, and our experience have proven that we can 10x every single nurse that's in the United States today and make a real impact in terms of cost of health, outcomes, and actually address the point and challenges that we face as a society. I want to talk to you about the $2 million we're looking to raise to take our successful prototype into our growth engine. And we look forward to chatting with you about this so that we can make a global difference, not just in the United States, but around the world. Thank you, Tim.
Terrific job, Ash. I look forward to meeting your team and learning more about the progress that you've made.
Thank you.
How
Thank
we
you.
potentially collaborate and
Yes.
really make what we talk about is moving the dial on healthcare and
Yes.
changing the narrative for nurses in the 21st century.
Excellent. Would love to. I'll put you in touch with my CEO, Tim. You'll probably get along with him. I think you guys will have a couple of things in common. But thank you very, very much for your time. So, Tim, I tried to bring in the nurse component into that, right? I tried to address that, the big pain point, how it connects, and how you are 10xing the 4 million nurses and how that can be a tangible win. Okay. There's probably questions that I didn't answer in terms of the financial components. Okay. But, how they can earn more money and stay, all these elements, I could have woven that in, but I wanted to kind of stay on time. But Tim, that was my attempt. Hopefully the feedback elements are there. We love what you're doing, Tim. We need to have your success, right? The globe needs your success. And we look forward to being part of that as part of the journey for your next fundraise. as well as opening doors to other markets outside the United States. So, Tim, I want to thank you again. I know we had a little bit of tech trouble, but it was definitely worth it, Tim. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Cheers. Bye-bye.